Well, hello. Uh, for many of you, good morning. If you're watching this in the afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome to APS 201 Learning Strategies. This is a simple 1 credit hour course designed to aid and help you in the early days of you beginning your work towards your bachelor's degree. Some of you may stop at your associate's degree, and that is wonderful. But always we have an eye towards folks kind of finishing that degree and seeing what doors the Lord might choose to open with doing something that you haven't done before. And so, learning strategies is a great opportunity to begin that journey out on a good, strong foot. So let me say a quick word of welcome. My name is Mr. Lewis. I will be a professor through our time together looking at learning strategies. This really is a joy for me to teach. I'll give you some background on where I got this degree, but one of my degrees is my master's in education. And so talking through learning strategies, ways that we learn most effectively, doing that in a way that's not a cookie cutter, same one size fits all approach to learning is tremendously exciting for me. That's one of the reasons why I pushed to be able to teach this course, and why I love the idea of going through and aiding you in your journey towards accomplishing the various goals that you all have. To give you a little bit of background on me, I'm married. Over the course of our time together, my wife and I will celebrate our 9-year wedding anniversary. The time has flown. We have 3 kids. We have a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old. For anybody that's been in that same boat, feel free to reach out with any advice that you have. But also, you will understand that our head is on a swivel. We are finishing the days quite exhausted, but having a ton of fun at the same time. So it is really a joyful season in the Lewis household. I did attend Union. I'm an alumnus of Union. I got my undergraduate degree here, and that was in biology with a minor in English. I then got my master's of education, as I said, also from Union. And so those are my 2 finished degrees. I've taken some seminary classes, kind of dabbled in some various things. But that's kind of my educational background. I'm also a member of Union's IT department, so I also work here. You can tell that my ties run deep into the university. My wife's do as well. She got her undergraduate degree here. We were here at the same time, didn't meet here, but certainly overlapped, and we look back on those years with great fondness. In terms of what we have going on this semester, I'm kind of giving you an idea of the course aim, that our goal is to really set your feet well and help you distinguish what things are most effective for you as you learn. For me, the way I take notes most effectively for me is I'm very spatial in how my brain works from a memory standpoint. So when I'm picturing back my notes, when I'm taking an exam, I try to remember where something's at on the page, what was happening around it. That really clues me in to help me remember that thing I'm trying to draw back to the surface. That way I might put it onto the various tests or exams that I'm working on. So that spatial aspect is really important for me. So when I take sermon notes, I usually start in the middle and work my way out, and I kind of write sideways and around and draw pictures and different things, because all those things help trigger my memory when I'm trying to think back to that particular sermon text, that particular point that the pastor was making, and how I might apply that here. Those things are effective and helpful for me. My wife, on the other hand, is very analytical, very organized, very strategic in how she takes notes. And so she's going through and point 1 and subpoint and indent, and she goes through, and her notes are very precise and very pretty to look at, because mine can be a little bit chaotic. And yet, if I tried to take notes like my wife does, I would do worse on an exam because that's not ineffective for me. And if my wife tried to take notes like I do, she would just fail the exam because they wouldn't make any sense to her whatsoever. And so what we have to do as we are starting this journey towards getting a college degree is figure out what type of things work most effective for you. Things like, when do you study best? Things like, what subjects am I going to need more support in? Am I going to need to go to the tutoring center for math? Or am I going to need to go to the writing center where I'm taking English 101? What are these things that are going to, I guess it would be English 111 in case anyone's looking at the catalog and getting confused by what I say. But what are the things that really are going to help and aid in you being effective in pursuing this degree with all the other demands that you have on your time? Many of you are going to have kids. Many of you are working full-time jobs. Many of you are juggling so many things that you don't have time to be an ineffective learner. I can learn the way other people can. That's possible. The kicker is it just takes me a lot longer. It takes me so much more time to learn the material if I'm trying to learn it through the lens of someone else versus learning it through the lens that's effective for me. So I can't answer that question for you. I can't give you a test and say, take this test and it's going to teach you what is most effective for you and your learning style. There are people out there that say that this test or that test will kind of give you the guidance that you need to know how to be effective in this arena. The reality is that they're flawed. They can't. Those tests cannot diagnose you to the level that you can diagnose yourself if given the right tools. What you'll see through our time together is that my goal is to put tools in your toolbox to help you figure out what things are most effective for you. There are going to be realities through your time in this program that are unavoidable. Some of you may say, a tool that I don't have in my toolbox is writing. I'm just not a good writer. I don't enjoy it, and it's not effective for me. If that's the case, we need to strategize and we need to figure out what that might look like, because almost every course that you take through this program is going to have this thing called discussion posts. This course will have discussion posts where you are taking the things that you've learned in the course and putting your observations out for the class to see that others might respond to what you have done. And so this is one of the realities, that if you are somebody who struggles with writing, then we need to strategize that with something like the Writing Center, some various tutoring opportunities to strengthen that and let the other pieces that you don't have as big of a struggle in really shine. So that's a lot of what we're going to be going through. That kind of gears us into what we have coming up throughout the course. It's going to be a combination of discussion posts, replies, quizzes, and then a final exam. Those are kind of the bread and butter parts of this course that you'll be graded on throughout the semester. My goal is always to have all the grades in by the end of the day on Wednesday. My hope in that is that you know how you did on last week's material before having to turn in this week's discussion posts. I think that's fair. I think that's a good benchmark. If something major comes up and that's not going to happen, I will certainly let you as the class know. But in general, that's what you should be able to expect, is at latest, end of day Wednesday, you'll know how you've done the week before. I'm looking forward to our time together. I'm looking forward to us working through the material. We're going to be aiming to help you know yourself better, help you understand other people better and how they also might be learning in a way that's different than you, help you understand some of the ramifications of things that people do to take the easy way out. So things like plagiarism, and what are the ramifications of that? Not just on you from an academic standpoint. Yes, we will get into that, but also on your soul. Like, what does that look like if you're willing to cheat your way towards a better grade in a course versus the grade that you would have earned without stealing someone else's ideas? What does it look like for intentional plagiarism? And what does it look like for unintentional plagiarism, where just you simply didn't know how to cite something? We're going to try to avoid some of those pitfalls, both in this course and in your time through the program. We're going to look at what does it mean to manage my time well. The folks who, there's no prerequisite to this towards getting a good grade in the class, but the folks that wait until the very last minute on Thursday evening to scramble together a discussion post, and then wait till the very last minute Sunday evening to scramble together a reply just to get the grade to move on. The reality is, if a course is this deep, they get about this much out of it because they're just not putting in the time. My hope and my prayer is that we put in adequate time, which is different for every person, but adequate time to really glean this information out well, that we might apply it both through the rest of this program and in your life in general. Those things are important. Learning how to pull information in, apply it, and then execute that in application is extremely important, not just in a learning setting, not just in a work setting, although those two things are vital, but also in your faith and how you walk with the Lord. Every Sunday, or most Sundays, barring sickness or vacations or things like that. My prayer is that you are sitting under someone preaching and teaching, and that you're hearing the word faithfully proclaimed. And that my hope is that as you hear the word faithfully proclaimed, these strategies help you internalize that, digest that in a way that is effective for you, and that it changes your life. That your life is changed by the word of God proclaiming, and that this class aids in that endeavor. So that's a lot of where we're heading. If you need anything through our course, please let me know. My contact info is on the Professor tab in Canvas. You can email me directly through Canvas. You can call me or shoot me an email at my Union Outlook. Any of those things are fine. I'm very available to answer any questions that you have, and we'll make it a great summer term. Bye, everybody.